my name is Vanessa. I am half Italian, half German, born in Brazil. And I am an illustrator, an artist, an illustrator, a hand letterer, and I work as a freelancer, basically. This is what I do, and this is what I've been doing all my life. So since I was a teenager, I was painting already, blah blah blah, and then I went to the university and I studied fine arts, and yeah, I worked in agencies as well, so like design studios, agencies, but it was never like a place for me. I always got fired. Every single job that I had, I got fired. And then I started working as a freelancer, like from home, and then that worked for me. That's it. And then never happy with the house as well, like a box to sit inside and have a TV and a car. I had it all, but then I lived in a van before, like years ago, like from 1989 to 1995 or 96, I lived in a VW. That was in another life, a long time ago. We didn't know each other by that time, so yeah, it's a little bit. Yeah.
Kind of new, but
you knew that I was.
We knew each other because we kind of we were neighbors when we were kids, so our family knew each other and we used to play together with the kids, and then we just our life just split apart, and then we kind of met again 20s, 40 something years later.
Yeah, yeah, 25 years later, yes. Yeah.
I'm Fab, I'm a graphic designer, and I was from Brazil. We've been living in England, I think, for the past almost 20 years, and then just before we decided to live on the road and get the van and do the conversion and everything. So.
Why did you start living in a van?
With me being like, yeah, I'm getting old. I'm 48 now, and I thought I'm not gonna die in a house. I'm not gonna keep paying rent and then die somewhere in a box. I don't want to do this anymore. Like, and then we were carless basically, and then we had the dog Daisy, and then we wanted, again, living in England, we wanted to go to the Peak District where we lived, and then we needed to get a train and then a bus with the dog and everything, and then we thought, oh my God, we never go out because it's a lot of work. We should at least have a car then we can enjoy, and then we can go camping. Do you remember? And then everything started like that, and then we were like struggling to pay the rent all the time because we both were freelancers, and we both have been on the road before, we traveled a lot before, and then when we met years ago, we traveled again and we moved country again. We've been moving a lot and living in different countries for a lot of time. And then in England again the same thing, blah blah blah. Oh my God, here we are, renting a house, the same story. And then we decided to buy a car. Right, let's have a car, then we can go camping, then we can take the dog, then we can take everything and sleep in the car maybe, or get the tent. And then everything was like, oh, but hang on, instead of buying a car, normal car, why don't we just buy a VW? This is what I wanted, like to have a VW again. And then we thought, whoa, but then they're quite expensive. They can be very expensive. Do we want a VW? And then we started like, you basically did all the search. And then we decided finally to cut a long story short on a Ford Transit, like empty box.
Yeah, I think there was one factor that we've been sort of seeing this movement happening, like with the minimalism lifestyles and like the tiny houses and all that. And we have a very close couple of friends that just they did a project and then they built as well like a bigger kind of adventure motorhome style, like 4x4, and they travel all down South America.
But they did.
There was
they
like
sold everything.
Yeah, they sold
a different
everything,
approach
and then
to us. Yes, we don't have any.
they had a budget,
money.
but that was really kind of an inspiring thing for us. And like we were living abroad, but we were still like in a house and paying gas, electricity, water, and everything else. So I think just by the time that day trip was ending, we were already really sort of deep into thinking of doing kind of the same, but how could we make it work, you know, in a slightly tighter budget and everything
exactly.
else.
And this is actually was how we found you on internet, because we were watching content on the internet, watching things here and there, watching who did home conversions before as well. Who are the guys who are traveling nowadays? Like, because I've lived in a van when we didn't even have cell phones. We didn't even have internet. It was like wild compared to what we do today. And we were like searching on internet, and this is how we found you, basically, searching and watching and seeing what they're doing, what we can do, what that one did that is good. Oh, the fridge is this way, the bed is that way, oh, blah blah blah. And this is how we came. Basically, Fab did the whole design here and built it himself. So I did help, but he did the main thinking and the project. So everything we did from scratch.
I think because we
Zero.
were already working as freelancer, we just realized that we didn't have to be in a place to just continue doing the same thing that we were doing.
Yeah, that it was very helpful, definitely, because then we thought, right, we can keep working as we are, but we don't need to be paying rent and being like slaves of. We are always slaves. There is no escape, but we can live alternatively, definitely. So off the grid is the best for us.
Yeah, there was no much planning in that sense. We just had to save enough to buy the van, and then from there we just start converting as we, as the money would come in. We would do it really kind of slowly but steadily. And then it took us a year to finish the van, but when it was done, like we just could just go, and we just did.
How much did the van conversion cost?
For starters, I wanted to point out that one thing that we did was very nice. So we bought the van absolutely empty, right? This van was like, they used to deliver newspapers and magazines, so but it was completely empty, nothing, no insulation, absolutely nothing. We started like searching for materials, to buy materials. But then in the UK there are a few websites that are great. People donate stuff, right? One of them is freecycle.org, right? it's a place, it's a community that you cannot sell anything. It's, you are giving and people are getting. That's it, right? So you can ask, look, do you have a piece of wood? And then someone would say, yeah, I have it. You know, do you want it? Take it. Basically like that. So we found loads of materials for this one for free, right? Absolutely free. Donations, like the floor. This is, someone bought like boxes of flooring in IKEA, yeah, and one box completely new and closed was left and they didn't use it, so they donated on that website, and one box was enough to do the flooring on the van. Things like that. Even the insulation, that was very, I'll let you talk because I talk too much, but you can talk about the insulation.
Well.
That is,
that was for free as well.
free, and we wanted like a very, it was like the most expensive material to insulate, or not?
I suppose. Yeah.
Rock wool.
I think it really depends on the person. Like you just have to do like what suits you best, because like for me it was like, for me the most important thing was like to have a good van to start with. So we spent like most of our budget to get like the best van we could afford.
Yep.
You know, engine wise and mechanic wise. So I didn't want to have too much work to do on that, you know, later on.
We chose that, but obviously people can buy a cheaper.
Some people just go the other way. They just buy the the cheapest van they can find, and
because they like the shape or they like this.
And then they.
But then you need to spend money on.
Yeah, they spend more money on fixing it. But some people are good at that. They, you know, they have the skills to fix the van, and they just do that. But it's like the advice that they most people give as well. Like, you know, you set a budget, double it. Set a deadline, double it, because it's gonna take longer. It's gonna cost more.
And it depends if you are in a hurry or not. If you have time, like we took some time. We searched for things, and then we found very good things for a very low price, and then things that we found in charity shops, things that we found on eBay. We bought the little oven with the two burners on top. I wanted an oven because I like baking, but we bought it. The delivery company dropped it, and it was like completely smashed up. And then we talked to the owner and said, look, this is how it came. And then the owner said, oh, just chuck it, because I don't want it back. I can give you your money back, but I don't want this back because I can't do anything else. So we left it in the house for a long time because it was like completely smashed down. And he is very good with his hands and everything. He brought it back to life, so it was free. You see, loads of things we found this way. I think if we can give advice, is like, think a lot, because this is going to be your home. And for us, it was important.
It was really like, we have friends that just they kind of started really way after us, and they finished way earlier. But they just had like this different, you know, mindset. We want to have everything kind of perfect, but they just like do the bed and
they
like
just
a stove, gas, and
took the bed out from the house, put the bed in,
and it was just it was just like the mindset, because he was actually a carpenter. He could have done really nice, but he just like chopped wood.
Yeah, but then his mindset was like, no, I don't. I wanted to get it done in 2 weeks, and he did it.
They did in 2 weeks,
and they set off in 2 weeks with a big van, old one, with only a bed inside, and then no insulation, and then they were like burning inside the van, because it gets very hot, so you need to put a lot of work on insulation. Insulation is the key word as well. Insulation.
but again, like all these things that you end up learning, whatever you missed, you know, before you start, you're gonna learn on
You're
the
gonna
road,
learn.
and you're gonna have to fix.
On the next one, you're gonna do different.
How did you make the transition possible?
I think it was really smooth, the transition, because we sort of, like we said, like we were already not really attached to the place that we were living, so we just we knew there was just like it would be wheels on our house, but other than that, like she had experienced it before as well in the van, and we are used to tight spaces, like, you know, camping and doing this kind of thing. So it was I didn't
just
feel anything like.
Yeah. It was just natural,
Yeah.
because we always lived like our lives in a way that we were not attached to anything. Basically.
I think the main for us, the main concern was not the problems we could find on the road, but it's just the confinement of the space, you know, how we would deal with that as well,
Yeah.
like being a couple, and, you know, not because in a house, even like the smallest house, you have at least you have another room to go, and you stay in the kitchen, you stay reading somewhere, and we know that in the van that wouldn't happen, so we
I
didn't
think
know
that
how
was the
that
main
would
concern.
work.
How to.
But we
cope.
didn't have problem with space. We didn't find, you know, lack of space. Once you get used to, you know, how you have to move inside the van so one can go past, you know, this kind of thing, and the routine of making the bed and up and down, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
We got used pretty quick. I think the first couple of weeks we already, you know, we into our system of, you know, everyday life back to normal.
Yeah. And I think we do have that, both of us. I mostly me. I is the way I feel. I feel like you've got to be, I think, you've got to have it a little, like you've got to be like a fighter and a hunter in order to live like life on the road as well, because you've got to find things very quickly, you've got to be able to, oh hang on, we are not going to sleep on this place tonight. Let's leave it. Or you've got to be smarter, I guess, because you don't feel. I know that this is in our minds, yeah. When they have a house and they have their bed and everything, they feel safe, yeah. And then when you live in a van or you are out there, you're not safe anymore. And I ask myself, what? It's the same thing. It's all in your head. But obviously, when you have a house, your house doesn't have wheels, yeah. In a house with wheels, you can move, yeah, like a van, and then you're gonna stop in places sometimes that are not quite right, and then you've got to be able to sniff. And this is why I feel like a hunter, a gatherer, a fighter. You've got to be smart. Don't be silly, because people get curious as well. So, and it's a different type of life, definitely. So, moving, the transition was absolutely, for us, was just, I think we got on our element. It suits us, definitely. But still, you know that your house, the place where you live, is gonna break one day, right? It's gonna break. Your normal house is not gonna break, because you don't need to take your house to a garage. But a house on wheels, yes, you will have it. So don't fear that, because this is gonna happen. Don't fear anything.
Yeah, I think that was like the second most worry that we had. It was like where we're gonna park to sleep, and we knew that this would be like a constant, like every day we would have to find a place to park and sleep.
And then we
We
thought,
started
sorry,
off in England, and it was in England
It's
it's
different.
terrible, like for van life as well, you know, motorhomes or whatever, because they don't allow you to park anywhere. So
yeah, everything's
But-
private. You cannot touch it. It's quite complicated.
yeah, but it just went really well. Like we always find a place near a park or in a quiet neighborhood, and we never had any problems so far. We never was stopped. We never got the police, you know, knocking on a van or
Just
anything
park
like that. Never.
rangers.
It once, yeah, it once because we didn't know where we were parking. That we couldn't park there, but it was like our fault really. But other than that, we always find a place to stay in.
How do you manage your relationship?
Yeah, it's always good. I mean, if you could make a transition and, you know, before you move into a van, move into a smaller flat, you know, a kitchenette or something small, that helps, because it does affect your relationship. You know, the space does affect, because you are, you know, in your face all the time, like 24/7, and sometimes we spend a lot of time inside the van, even though it's small, especially in England where we started. The weather's not so good, so we have to stay
Yeah, you can't
inside.
even let the door open,
Yeah.
the windows open, because you're gonna.
So relation-wise, it can get a bit claustrophobic, but you just have to be a bit more tolerant, and you know, you're gonna learn one way or another.
Yeah, there is no formula. No,
No, no,
sorry.
yeah.
You need to find your way.
Patient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need to find your way.
Yeah, just count to 10, you know, this kind
No,
of thing.
I don't know how to count to 10. I
Yeah,
don't know.
She can only count to 3, so that
No,
doesn't really help.
maybe to 3.
So that creates
So
a
then
bit
I
of a...
bang the door and I go outside.
Have you got advice for online work?
I tried a few websites where you can get freelance jobs. Yeah. I don't know if you want me to name them or not, but I don't think I'm gonna name them, but people know them. They are all over internet.
I think most...
I had my profiles there. It wasn't for me, I guess, or I didn't persist enough
Yeah.
time,
think
because I
most
know
of
people.
these-
They get jobs there, definitely. They are good. I'm not saying that they are not. It's just that they didn't work for me. The way I get my clients is again hunting. I hunt. I pitch. Sometimes I don't get anything back. Sometimes someone recommend me or something. Oh, I know that lady. She does this and that. Sometimes they get in touch, and then that one becomes your client for a long time. So again, there is no formula for that. You've got to keep an eye on the market, definitely, because you're selling what you create. So you don't create what everybody's creating. So, but then there is another thing. What everybody's creating now is what's selling now. So it's a quite tricky one. You've got to be original in a soup of loads of the same thing. It's all the same, but you've got to be different in that matter. Ha ha ha. How easy is that? And he is quite lucky.
No,
because
yeah, I
the
mean,
jobs follow him.
No, it's not that. It's just like
Sometimes
I'm doing the same thing I was doing before, so I didn't have to, you know, I
search
had
for
to
new
adapt
clients.
to this new lifestyle, because I'm still doing the same I was doing before, and I have like a company that was giving me work from time to time, and they still doing that, and then the other freelance I do as well with just people that know me, but they knew me before, so I didn't.
You didn't get new clients on
Yeah,
the roads.
which is one thing that kind of worries me, because I'm not hunting for work, because you know the work I'm getting now is kind of enough, especially because we live in a van, so our bills, you know, drop dramatically, and
Yeah.
we can live with a lot less, which is good. So I don't really have to stress too much about work. When I get work, I work a lot, but it's not, you know, it's
Yeah.
not like a constant thing.
No.
Yeah.
It's good with you is that you brought everything with you, the work that you did before. So
Yeah, I suppose if you don't have that, you have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And
I think,
one
yeah.
advice that people always give as well is, you don't have to. It doesn't have to be that, you know, drastic. You can start if you don't have a freelance job. If you have like a fixed job, you can start doing the freelance work before you set, you know, into this
Yeah. And
style of life.
loads of companies, if you work for a company, right? Loads of them. It depends on what you do, obviously. If you need to be there because you are a doctor or a psychologist or something, this is different. But we are talking about graphic design here, and illustration and things like that. If you work in a studio or in an advertisement agency or something like that, or even if you do like animation work, this type of job specifically, you can, if you work for a company, you can start like doing 3 days per week, and then stepping back, and on the other 2 days you can search for clients, and then you can also work remotely for the company that you are already working for. So you can start. This is already started. This movement of remote work. So is there? Go and grab it if you want it. Because I did it for one company a long time ago. I was working for them in-house, and then we started like a different mode, different setup, and then I put a table in my house, and I was working for them from my space, still working for them. And then I moved to Italy, and this company is in Brazil. So when I moved to Italy, I was able to work for them. So they didn't even know where I was, so it doesn't matter anymore. So if you want to move to a van or have a van life type of things going, you can do that if you are like...
No, even if you have like, if you're a psychologist or a therapist or anything like that, like nowadays with Skype and all this, you can actually do it, do everything online, and talk to people face to face and listen to them, and we know people who do that, so
Yeah.
it may, you know,
Yeah,
it may work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's always a matter of adapting, but I guess some professions that don't have it anyway. So
How do you manage your time?
yeah, for me it works absolutely, suits me perfectly, because I know what I need to do. I don't need to sit down at 9 and finish at 5, and then I go home like dying. I manage my time, so I like my mornings, like my coffee. I wake up early, but I don't start working very early. So it's a different way. You have freedom, and then you can manage the time you have is quite different from being an employee or working for a company that you've got to follow their rules. So you basically are able to do your own rules.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what I like is that I can do whatever I want on my free time, and when I have work, I work. When I have work, I try to be as professional as even more than when I was working, inside a company. If I don't mind have to work like through weekends and through the night if I have a deadline or something like that, because I know that after I finish, I can go anywhere, I can just relax, I don't have to sit there even though there's no work to do.
You've got to be even more responsible because it's your name on the line, your work. If you don't do it properly, if you don't meet the deadlines, if you don't deliver, well, your client is going to go and find the next designer in the next corner. So
yeah, like, if you're traveling as well, like most of the time you're doing work for people who are in a different time zone as well, so you can't just say, oh, it's 6 o'clock, I'm gonna stop working now if they just start, so
no, you've got to
you just adapt to
adapt a lot.
to them
Yes.
a lot.
Yeah.
But there's a good
Got
good reward in doing that.
Yeah, it's quite
Just the
interesting.
lifestyle.
We've got clients in Australia, in England, and in Brazil, for instance. So completely different time zones clients. But we've got to be on top of them.
It works well.
It works well. Yeah.
What's the downside of van life for you?
First of all, van life is not on Instagram. What you find on Instagram is a romanticized way of showing van life. Very romantic. Beautiful pictures. But yeah, it's not what van life is.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't complain that much because maybe because I'm not too
Fussy about anything.
yeah, I'm really happy with little, but
Yeah, me too.
but for me, like the things that annoyed me more, it was the constant like search for water. For me, it's like the main thing.
Yeah, you don't
It's
like
water.
doing that. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's so.
I don't mind the gas or the LPG or emptying the toilets or anything like that. But water is when the sensors start beeping, like we have to find water.
But it's
really annoying.
It's so easy to find water.
Yeah, it is easy, but it's just I don't know. For me, it's one thing that you never think about when you have running tap water in a house. But when you get to a van, you just you think twice before you wash your dishes because you just have to be more. I think one thing
You've
really
got
nice,
to be more conscious.
Yeah, it makes you more aware of the things around you
And
how much you consume.
How much you consume, how much you waste in a house.
Yeah.
You don't have any idea.
But that's not like
this is not the downside. This is
yeah.
for me is one of the why we are doing this, why we moved to a van, because we want to be more conscious about things. I don't see any downside actually.
We haven't experienced much of the downsides, but I know it's coming.
There is one. There is one actually in summer, right? But then we didn't have that problem. In summer it's quite hot, blah blah blah. You feel like having more showers, yeah. But then it's fine because we always find a river or a lake, and then we park by the lake or by the river and have our showers there. So it's not a big deal, but it's quite hot in the van, inside the van. So this is one downside for me. The heat. I'm not very into heat, but I can't fault anything. Yeah, I can't fault anything.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't mind to stay a few days without a shower. So that
Few
doesn't.
days?
Yeah.
Babes, tell the truth. How many days? We don't
Yeah.
mind. I have a technique, actually. I have a technique that I can teach people how to shower in the van with little water.
If any.
Little water. Yeah. So the French are very smart in terms of taking showers. Yeah. They have a little thing. Actually, I can show it. A little device that I've found. Right. Ah, my God, this is amazing. Right. You just dump it. Yeah. Put a little bit of soap. La la la. You wash your tropics everywhere, and then you rinse it. That is lovely. So this is my technique to take more than one shower a month.
Yeah.
No, we're joking.
What could be this could be like a downside for
Many people might find it very
Yeah.
terrible, but it's amazing. Well, no, there's no downside to me. We have
Well, we
everything
have,
we want, everything we need, but we are very content with very little as well, right? So
we
But-
haven't experienced any problem with the van as well, because that's one of the. I think that's the major thing, because we are living in a van. So if anything happens to it and it has to go to a garage, we don't really know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna have to find a place to stay, because
Yeah.
sometimes you can't.
yeah, in the beginning we thought about it a lot. Oh my God, what are we gonna do if the van breaks down? We need to get everything and the dog, and where we are gonna go. Blah 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 blah
I
blah
guess
blah.
we're gonna find out when it happens. But
Yeah, and then a
Possibly.
few weeks ago it happened with a couple of friends that we met on the road as well. So their van broke down, and then we went to the garage and we talked to the guys in the garage, and they let us always stay outside in front of the garage. So during the day they would put the van in to work on the van. In the evening back out, and then we stayed not for long, but a
A
week.
week.
It was for them was like a very long week, but yeah. So
But
that's
they
it.
didn't have to book a hotel or anything like
No,
that.
so
But, it's an
you
option.
always find your
Yeah.
way to solve your problems, but you've got to be.
Yeah, I mean there are bad things that could happen, but it could happen even if you are in a house as well. So you can't really think too much about this kind of thing. Like you shouldn't think too much about the bad things that could happen, because if they happen, they will happen. But if they don't, you're just missing out on something, a lot bigger, I think.
How does travel affect your life?
I think after you travel, even as a backpacker or anything like that, I guess it kind of the way it changes you is just because you realize that there's no just like your reality, like because before you leave your hometown, say you think that's how life is, for people around
this is
you, and that's
how
what you
everyone behaves. You feel like your little world is the world,
see. Yeah.
and when you step out of it,
Yeah, it's a lot.
You
Yeah, it
can
can be
see.
a lot different, and I think it just makes you realize how sort of unimportant, a lot of things that you thought was important really is, and the other way around as well.
yeah, and then you cross loads of borders, yeah, because we've got borders, yeah. This is Portugal, this is Spain, this is this whole thing with boundaries and lines and labels and flags, yeah. And I can speak about both of us basically, because we don't believe in that. And when you leave your little town and you travel and you see different cultures, different people, and the more you travel, the more you realize that there are no labels, no flags, no lines delimiting countries here and there, because we are all the same and we always struggle with the same things. Traveling can change your mind, basically. But I know people that have traveled a lot, but they didn't change because they wanted to see what they saw in their little town, like the little bread and butter. They wanted to find the bread and butter out there in Thailand, out there in Portugal, out there in China. Oh, they don't have my little bread and butter. I'm gonna go back to my little hometown. There I have it. And then go back. Yes, traveling is not for you. Just go back. You realize that you like your place, and that's fine. That's not wrong. But if you feel like you want to see and you want to change as well, traveling definitely is a good way of doing that. You don't need to travel to change yourself, no, but it does change if you are open to that, because you meet a lot of different things that they can break you, and then when you break, you rethink. This is what I find interesting.
Yeah, I think one thing as well is that it kind of changes you, because we are used to see things and think about people and places from what we see on television and on the news and all that.
And on Instagram.
Most of the time it's not like, it's not really the reality of their people, really the majority of what happens in that place. Just you see on the telly what makes the news, but it's not like, there are good people and there are bad people and there are problems everywhere. But I think you realize how, how different reality really is from what you see on TV or on the internet, and when you go and find out for yourself.
Have you got any advice for newbies?
When we were searching, we watched a few YouTubers with van conversions, things like that, blah blah blah. Got inspired here and there to do a few things, or to not do what he did. Oh no. How we learned a lot by searching. We know that there is a trend that van life can be quite cool and trendy right now, blah blah blah.
I think it helps that there is a community, because it kind of,
yes,
in a way, kind of inspires you, to go out there and do your thing, and most people really sort of, welcome you as well. So if you have any questions, you can get in touch. Nowadays, just you can send a message and ask about things. And
yeah, we got people asking us as well, oh, how you guys did this, and then we believe that we helped a few people here and there by replying to them and explaining how we did or things like that. Or people that saw since the beginning. We took loads of pictures of the process of the building of the van and everything, but we didn't post all of them, but we did post a few, and then we got asked. We asked people as well, so we got like a good exchange. Yes, it's good that there is a community, that's for sure. We need, in a way, communities are good for us because we can rely on each other. Yeah, this is what we've been doing since we left the caves. Yeah, but even when we were in the caves, they were small communities. Yes. Does it matter if it's a trend or not? No, it doesn't, because it's a trend in a way that people are getting interested in an alternative lifestyle. How can I go? How can I get off of this? Is there any way off? Right? We all want to get off at some point. We don't want the banks to dictate our lives. We don't want this, we don't want that. Yeah, so there is a community that is started. That's good. And yeah, it is inspiring. It is absolutely inspiring.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about all these, the community and the movement, is that it just shows you the
Daisy.
it just like reassures you that it's possible, because just for the fact that, you know, everybody else is doing as well.
Yeah.
So you feel quite you know, safe and comfortable in doing the same.
I wanted to say one last thing about it, actually. It's good, and I really hope that people get inspired of getting off if they're not happy with the way their lives are going. But then I really want to see the van life community to be very respectful to each other, yeah, because we are all on the same road, and then the roads cross sometimes, and we are going to see each other here and there. So we've got to be respectful to each other, and we don't want to pollute and be in a nice spot like this one where we are, and then come back tomorrow and it's full of rubbish because another van lifer left his rubbish on the beach, or he pooped in the bush and left the poop there for my dog to eat it, and the paper, the tissues there. Why do we do that? We know that we cannot do that. So this is unrespectful to the environment and to the country that we are, because we love being in different countries and parking for free and staying overnight and making a nice fire. But then please don't mess it up. I think this is something that needs to be addressed on Instagram as well.